Welcome to the Games Revealed podcast, brought to you by Bunny Strike Studios, our studios. This is James.
And I'm Tyson.
And we're here to throw down some facts about The Last of Us. It's been a while since we played The Last of Us. We're kind of hoping to play most of the games that we talk about in this podcast. And we didn't really get to The Last of Us. As of recording this, Part 2 has come out. Who knows that there's a Part 3 coming out in the near future, because I feel like they kind of effed it all up with Part 2. But we'll find it. We'll see. We'll see. Naughty Dog has a lot of money.
We know there's a lot of rumors and a lot of controversy out there about this particular game. And we're not going to weigh in on the new stuff until we've played it.
Exactly.
But initially, I wasn't even sure I wanted to play it, so...
Well, Tyson, he wants to review the first part, and he says he's just going to stop playing. That's the game to him.
Yeah.
I'll play the whole thing and get the whole idea.
I'm only going to play 30 minutes, and you will get my full review.
Or better yet, you play the first half, I'll play the second half.
And then... Actually, that might not be a bad idea.
No, well, it'd be interesting.
It definitely would.
It'd be
we should do that at least on one game someday.
One game that neither of us have played.
Yeah. So yeah, we're just going to hit into The Last of Us, kind of go through what our favorite things were, some of the cool facts that are about that, and some of the neat, informational tidbits that surround the game.
And to go over the game a little bit. So, it was developed by Naughty Dog, and it was published by Sony Computer Entertainment, meaning it's only on
PlayStation,
which I heard that is it out on PC? I heard that the rumor was it was going to come out on PC.
Oh, something? Let me get our fact checkers. Oh, shit. Now I got to erase that. Last of Us.
And it stays on to you now.
Part 2, PC.
So, not Part 2, Part 1.
Oh, Part 1, my bad.
I think there's rumors of Part 1 being on PC. I think there's more and more games coming out that are published by Sony coming out for the PC.
5 days ago, Ellie and Joel may never make it to PC, but dry your eyes. Here are Last of Us Part 2 is on its way to PS4, so it doesn't look like it's out on the PC.
Well, that's the rumor. So we'll see if that ever comes true, because Sony's releasing games onto the PC, which is smart. They're going to make a lot more money, I think, that way, just because it broadens their audience.
Now, can you play PlayStation Now via a PC? Because there's kind of a hiccup here where it says it's not available on PC natively as an actual PC port, but you can play it through PlayStation Now.
Okay, so you can play it,
and you can do that on PC.
You can do shit. You can do that on play. I can play it on this. I have an app for it on my MacBook. You play as Joel most of the time, but he also plays other various characters throughout the game, including Ellie, who you escort across the country. Now, the best part about this game... What?
Across the country of Fungus Land.
That's true. That's what I put in the notes. Across the United States of Fungus Land.
Human fung zombies.
Fun fact, that it was the name of the United States after the fungus took over. No, but to bring on to... So, the humans infected in this, the zombies per se, are not the traditional ones that are strand of virus. It's a strand of fungus. That's one of the most interesting things I think about this game for me. When I first started, it's always a virus, and it made me really have to think about the fungus side of things. So it's a mutated strain of the cordyceps fungus. And fun fact, we'll get into those a little bit more, but it's not really a fun fact. It's more of a explanation. There's 400 species of the cordyceps. So, who knows? Maybe one day it will mutate and take over a human.
Maybe we'll find the 401 species, and that's the human species. Is that 401?
Because we're a parasite. We're a fungus on this earth. So, The Last of Us was received with great acclaim by almost every site, every magazine, and all that stuff. They were given great reviews. Some people, there's a lot of people that say it's the best game that came out for the PS3.
Yeah, because it did release on the PS3.
It came out for the PS3, a year? I think it was a year before the PS4 came out. PS4 came out 2014-15?
believe so, yeah. And I think it released 13 if my notes are right.
Well, and then the next year, then they released the remaster, which I have, and I still have not played on my PlayStation 4. It does look beautiful, though.
My son beat it, though. Well, he beat it with his friend. I don't know how much he played.
Those were the days, man. Playing games on and off with friends.
Oh, yeah.
Nowadays, we have the money to just play.
They share controller, Dead by Daylight, too. It's hilarious. I love watching that shit.
The last little fact, just standard fact that everyone knows, it's rated M for mature. So, to dive a little bit more into the cordyceps thing. The freakiest thing about this whole thing, I think the whole game, is the concept that I think it's more likely that a fungus would infect a person this way than a virus mutating to make someone sporadic.
Yeah, because, I mean, realistically, there isn't a virus that can do that. Right? I mean, I'm sure there are some, but maybe they're biological weapons or something. But this is just a fungus. This is something that lives in the real world, affecting insects, and that's why it's more scary to me, because it's actually a real thing.
So we'll get into this topic in later episodes on zombies, because there are some viruses, and a very popular one is the
bath salts.
Bath salts actually can do that, but it's not a virus.
Exactly.
But it might as well be a zombie. It's not a contagious thing, though. Because usually if you're on bath salts too much, you just die and you don't really pass that on.
I want equal rights for bath salt zombies.
So, what is it? It's not... Are
you trying to think of a virus? A real virus?
Yeah, there's a real virus. It's what Michael Scott's afraid of.
Oh, for hell's sakes. Rabies.
Rabies.
That does not count. That doesn't make you a zombie. That gives you lockjaw.
No, I know, but
Oh, no, wait, that's rust.
Oh my gosh, that's rust. No. There is actually... That is a close thing. Meaning, if it mutated, it could potentially, in the future, if it mutated enough, could present a zombie-like virus.
Okay, I'll agree with that. I just, on my in-depth research of what rabies is, it does cause inflammation in the brain of humans, and if it does mutate, maybe that affects the rage.
It affects rage, and that's why dogs will attack more.
And then we have 28 Days Later, the movie.
So it's like in February,
I guess.
No.
Shit, we gotta wait another year, boys.
Another year.
2021.
We'll just see what 2021 feels like after 2020.
I forget about rabies. Rabies is such a curable thing these days.
It is. But if it mutates
one point,
in
it
such
was
a weird
rampant.
way, or if China gets a hold... We probably shouldn't talk about it.
Oh, gosh.
But if China gets a hold of it...
No, this is America. We could talk about China. If China gets a hold of it, imagine what their citizens are going to look like.
No, if China gets a hold of it, they breed it with other viruses, because you breed viruses.
And then they're the umbrella... And then they are the Umbrella Corporation.
No. Use CRISPR, man. CRISPR, and just edit that virus, and you can make it do whatever you want. So... All
right, so yeah, there is a virus. It is rabies. That could mutate. And we also have a fungus that can mutate and take control of humans.
We're over the scientific side of things.
I will say, to be more scared of the fungus, it only affects ants, whereas rabies currently affects humans.
Agreed.
Very scary
stuff. Fungus.
Scary stuff, folks. Warn your friends about rabies. We need to raise awareness.
We're going to do a fun run.
We're going to do a fun run to cure rabies.
Rabies.
NBC is coming.
Fear of water.
NBC is coming soon. They're coming in hot.
Publicity.
A lot of people are going to know our name now.
Everyone.
Those assholes that got sued by NBC.
They got to episode 1.
Got to episode 1 and got sued.
So to end the fungus thing, it actually goes and replaces the host's body.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing in Last of Us, where it goes and you slowly see them become fungus.
Yeah.
That's where it's more realistic in the sense of them getting crazy and not deteriorating. The fungus is going to help replace and make sure that the body stays somewhat pristine. Whereas in rabies, and when you get into that rage state,
your body's
unless you're
fail.
eating, your body's going to fail eventually.
Yeah,
where
true.
in the fungus one, I think it will eventually take over enough to where maybe it wouldn't.
But what's the fungus consuming though? It's got to consume something.
Probably consumes part of the body, but if the body's eating too, it might be a symbiotic relationship.
I wonder if it takes it over enough, it takes over its digestive system. Is that even possible? Oh, God. Now we're getting into some deep waters here.
See, and this is the part where everyone's going to, like, any real scientist is like, and this is why it's never going to happen.
Yeah.
But never say never.
That's true. You don't know what kind of crazy stuff is going to happen.
2020.
You could have predicted Corona, scientist, and you didn't.
It's all the scientist's fault.
We figured it out. Neil deGrasse scientist.
Oh my gosh. I feel like that was low grade offensive.
Yeah, it's fine though.
No.
This is a free country.
National treasure. Can't offend national treasure. So, okay, to get back on topic. So, what is some fun facts that you have about the game? I know we have a couple of them. There's a lot of things we can talk about with this.
Honestly, there's quite a lot of Easter eggs and neat shit that's in The Last of Us. A lot of it revolves around Naughty Dog, Uncharted, Jak and Daxter. And I mean, we will talk a little bit about some of the cooler Easter eggs that do revolve around some of those topics, but I'm not going to go into all of them because honestly, you look into this or you play that game, there's Jak and Daxter, Uncharted, and the other thing that I said all throughout that game. But there are a couple of cool things.
Naughty Dog's the one that did Crash Bandicoot, didn't they?
Yeah. Oh, hell if I know, man.
Yeah, because Uncharted, in Uncharted, you can actually play Crash Bandicoot in the fourth Uncharted. So, they did. Fun fact there.
Fun fact. The people that brought you Crash Bandicoot was Naughty Dog.
Now, I think that's... this might even end up being more about... Naughty Dog more than The Last of Us.
Yeah, more than The Last of Us.
But Naughty Dog, I just never thought, like, Crash Bandicoot was an amazing game.
I didn't like it.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the demo. I had the demo for the PlayStation when I was a kid. Ugh. It was fun. But they went from Crash Bandicoot to Uncharted and, like, Jak and Daxter. It's such a weird morph. Because Jak and Daxter actually has a good story.
Jak and Daxter kind of fits in there, but going from that to Uncharted, which, again, I didn't play very many
Even going from, like, Jak and Daxter to Uncharted is just nuts.
That's a huge jump.
You go from cartoon to realism.
Yeah, it's a very big jump. And then the story alone, I mean, a lot of people love those stories, and that was a pretty well-done story. Yeah, and then they freaking cherry on top. Blow it out of the water with the Last of Us story. That was incredible.
The Last of Us is the most convincing of a real story in a game. I think that's one of the things that makes Last of Us so great is that it's
which is funny because if you're comparing it to real life, Uncharted they still treasure, which literally exists in the world.
So Tyson has not played Uncharted, and he doesn't realize that there's a lot of mythical.
Well, yeah, there's mythical shit.
There's zombies in Uncharted,
but zombies are a big part of the fiction. Real treasure exists. They found Fenn's treasure the other day.
Yeah.
2 million.
That's it.
Shit, man. That's worth it. But yeah. So anyway, getting into some facts. It probably will turn out to be more about Naughty Dog, but we'll get into that. So one of the cool things about Uncharted and The Last of Us is they had a pretty neat Easter egg in both of the games. They both needed to work together, but it's going to take a little bit of explaining on the back end if you've never heard about this. But to kind of get a time frame of where this was all happening and get the understanding of the release dates. So The Last of Us was announced, the debut trailer was announced December 10, 2011. Uncharted 3 was released November 1st, 2011. So Naughty Dog wanted to release, their goal was to release the debut trailer for The Last of Us prior to the release of the game Uncharted 3. The reason for that is because the Uncharted 3 has a pretty sick Easter egg that you can find in newspapers in that game, in the Uncharted 3 game. And in the newspapers, it talks about a deadly fungus, scientists trying to figure out, the deadly fungus or blah, blah, blah. But that is badass. And the fact that nobody was able to catch that throughout the whole playing of that game until it was announced, until it actually got found, pretty funny. So it turned out to be a subtle Easter egg that turned into be a literal, invisible Easter egg.
Yeah, how many games or movies have done an Easter egg of something that hasn't come out yet?
Beats the hell out of me, but I feel like they're probably one of the firsts. But it's cool that they left it in there. It's cool that they allowed it to get found and things like that, and then kind of explained the fuck up or the mess up. They kind of explained the mess up. I
mean, I never caught those things when I played through it until I saw some game articles on it, and so yeah, when I saw it, I always think that type of stuff's really cool when I see it. I was just bummed I didn't get it when I went through, even though I enjoyed both games a lot.
Oh yeah, I love those Easter eggs.
And I played both games. I play every, besides Last of Us Part 2, right when they come out. I mean, to be fair, it came out like last week, so.
Yeah. We're busy. We got things to do. So, other cool things, other cool little facts that are in The Last of Us. You can find 2 PlayStation 3s in that game. You can find one in the house that you begin with as Sarah. You can also find another one in an electronics store later through the game. I believe it's right after that madman chases you, where you're playing as Ellie and that dude's chasing you down. I think it's right around there. Oh shit, there was another one called the Uncharted 13 newspaper. So while you're going through the Grand Hotel in The Last of Us, there's a bunch of newspapers just on the ground with a headline. This is fucking great. A headline stating, Uncharted 13, a lush movie. Justin Bieber is Drake. Drake refers to Nathan Drake being from Uncharted. So apparently they wanted the Biebs as Nathan Drake.
And you know what? He would have done a beautiful job.
He would have killed it. Literally killed it as Nathan Drake. Because I already think that those are terrible movies, and he would fit right into them.
You know
what I'm saying?
They are terrible movies.
Because they don't exist.
Games?
Those are terrible games, and he would fit right into them.
But
they're not terrible.
But, I mean, they are making some Uncharted movies. But, I mean, how old would Justin Bieber have to be at Uncharted 13? You have to be in, like, his 60s by that point.
Yeah, but, Nathan Drake, the retired years.
I mean, to kind of segue now, like a little bit into like the posters. There's a ton of kick-ass posters in this game. Yeah,
a lot of different stuff. Going to Naughty Dog, Uncharted, Jack and Dexter. You can find the plushies, the posters, that type of stuff all throughout. There's even a mouse pad with, I believe, Uncharted's logo on it.
Oh yeah.
On one of their desks.
Refresh my mind a little bit. Are they like posters of the games, or just like to make fun of it a little bit, or like
it's posters of the game. I think it's more of like their Easter eggs of we made this, and you can see it in the game, and they want to be able to rep
a lot of that type of stuff. Like, and the only reason I ask is we need to play through the game again. It's been a year since I've played it.
Yeah, it's been a while since I played it. Like I said, my son and his friend have been playing it, so I've been watching them. But I definitely want to go through and play it. Not that I haven't played it a ton, and we'll get into that a little bit later. Because we want to go over, our favorite parts of the game. But obviously, you can't remember every detail of that game, and that's what we feel like we're not being able to provide today.
It's such an emotional game too, to where there's a lot of emotional memories for me on it.
Yeah, big time. And so for us to be able to bring that type of stuff, we need to get back into it and play it. And I'm definitely going to be jumping into it before I play The Last of Us 2, because I want to go through that roller coaster of emotion.
Yeah, well, and it's been long enough for me that I probably will hit all those emotions again, which is cool. I like waiting long enough on some games to play through, and it doesn't feel like it feels like you're almost playing through it again for the first time.
Yeah, you forget enough about it to have it be a fun experience.
And yeah, that's in today's world. There's tons of games, but I just don't get some of those experiences as much.
Yeah. So, but going back to those posters that you can find, there is a place where you can find a room of movie posters. And this is what I like. This is because, one, they have some pretty badass, at least movie posters that are supposed to be referencing real movies in real life. And those are the ones that I like. So if you open up an apartment it's above the toy store. There's a room you can go in above the toy store, and if you use a shiv to open up that door, you can find a bedroom filled with posters, and they include Hair Trigger, and these are the names of the posters in the game. So there's Hair Trigger, the Sword of Vengeance, and the Lost Kingdom. Hair Trigger is a reference for the transporter. The Sword of Vengeance is a reference to The Last Samurai, and The Lost Kingdom, Indiana Jones. So pretty badass that you can find a poster with those referenced movies. Obviously, those are pretty 3 big ones, so chances of you liking at least one are pretty big. There is another poster that's in there that I want to touch base on, and it's I Want to Ride My Bicycle, and this is a reference or a throwback to Queen, to their song Bicycle Race. Pretty badass that not only, I mean, you can go through this game, find a bunch of that Jak and Daxter, find a bunch of that other stuff, but it's nice when you actually get to come across some of these Easter eggs that reference something else, like
really did
a new thing. You expected another Jak and Daxter or another Naughty Dog or another Uncharted reference.
I mean, the way
and then all of a sudden you get
this
Queen.
Whole episode, you said in this episode that's all they have.
No,
sounds like they have a lot of fun.
Okay.
Easter eggs.
To change, if I did say that's all they have, that is the majority of what they have. And obviously they do have a lot of other Easter eggs and stuff like that, but I mean, you run across those Jak and Daxters, the Uncharted, that type of stuff quite a bit, but it is nice to kind of go through and see those movie posters, to see, you know, Queen's poster in there before. I mean, I know Queen was big, and I know Queen got big with the recent release of Stone Age, Bohemian Rhapsody, the movie about Queen. I know that's getting a lot of new hype about Queen and stuff, but it's cool to just have them throw that in there way back then, where
and also
not a lot of people were really listening.
We'll also have show notes, and so once you either while you're listening to this or when you get done, you can also look in our show notes on our website. So
yeah, we want to make it easy so you guys can figure out where we're getting our information. You guys can reference our information, and then if you hear something that's wrong, 1, we can fix it, and 2, we can go to the reference material and tell them to fix it. So we do try to find the truth.
Yeah, and to find that, all you have to do is go to gamesrevealed.com and then navigate the podcast to this episode, and you can look at the show notes.
Yeah. So. It's always one of the nice things about a podcast is having that data, or at least having links or something like that, so you can look into it yourselves. So there is a kind of an Easter egg, but in the Firefly lab, towards the very end, you're in the St. Mary's Hospital. There's just eye charts throughout the level, and messages can be read left to right. One of them says, "Run, you are nearly there, don't quit," and it says you're escaping the hospital. So pretty neat that you can run through there, find those eye charts, and just kind of see what different messages that they have on there. Yeah. So the next time you're running through that, check those charts out. Give yourself an eye exam. Put one hand over your left eye. See if you can read it. That's what they want in the end. Good eye health. That's what Naughty Dog's all about.
And the moral of the story is check your eyes.
Check your eyes. One of the other cool bits is for anybody that's read The Road, which The Road, written by Cormac McCarthy, was a very big inspiration for Naughty Dog in their creation of The Last of Us. To the point where one of the books that Ellie owns is called To Get to the Other Side, written by a fictional author, Catherine McCormack, which is a reference to the actual author, Cormac McCarthy, of The Road. So pretty badass that they threw that in there, and not only is it an Easter egg that's in the game, but it's actually one of the books that references the real-life book that is in Ellie's possessions. Pretty cool that they included that in there, being such a big inspiration to them.
I mean, that's really an important thing to do. I think inspirations as Easter eggs are a must in games. So like with that book, have you read it before at all? I don't know if
I've not read it, but I've watched the movie, and I don't know how closely the movie relates to the book, because there's always going to be those changes in there.
Well, it was inspired, but does it have like a concept of like a fungus zombie?
No, not that, but more as just a post-apocalyptic world where it is it's not really, because like the zombies, we know the zombies are huge in The Last of Us, right? But it's not the main issue that's in the game. It's actually the humans that you're fighting.
The humans, and the main narrative of the game is these.
You're basically being controlled by the rogue government that's still around. Yeah. They have firepower, and so it's just neat. Well, not neat. It's
essentially the journey is. I mean, if you want to take a game and say, that's a great example of. It's about the journey, it'd be this game.
Yeah, and that's what it is. I mean, The Road is all about that journey of survival, just trying to make it do what you have to. And that's really the world that they put you in The Last of Us.
Now we're on to the fun stuff. Because we went through the fun facts, now we're going to go through the fun, controversial facts.
Yeah, the fun facts that people actually care about. The controversy.
The controversy. No. So, with any game, I feel like any game the past 20 years, there's some type of controversy, especially if it's a big game.
Oh, yeah.
And The Last of Us...
If there's violence, everybody's going to find it. So, controversy is the name of the game when you're playing games.
Always something, especially with the way the news is. But,
you got to talk about something.
But yeah, there's a couple of things of controversy in this one, and I think a big one is with Ellen Paige.
Yeah, Ellen Paige was a big one.
Her likeness being ripped off a little bit.
Yeah.
And anyone that's actually played the game, because they try to say, I think in the beginning, like, Naughty Dog's like, no connection. And I'm like, and they try to fix it. I'm like, there's no way. This looks like Ellen Paige. Like, trying to fix it made it look more like her probably because...
Oh, yeah, it really did look like her, and I don't know enough on Naughty Dog's position. I feel like I've read some articles that say that they did kind of model it after her, and then when I forget the actress that plays Ellie, it's Jordan something. I believe when she read for the part, they really realized that was who, and they did a little model changing.
To fit her likeness?
To fit
but
hers, but it made
two
more
photos. If you did two photos,
it made it look more like Ellen Paige. So yeah, I don't know. She did come out and try and say that they did try and steal her likeness. I don't know what Naughty Dog said to that. If it actually came out that they did, and then that's why they changed it to make it more look like the actress that voiced Ellie. But definitely looked spot on like her to the point where I thought she was the one that was voicing. I was a young kid. I don't look at the characters. I don't look at the credits when I play that game. That was freaking 10 years ago almost.
I still see the credits. I still see all the news, and I'm still convinced that it's Ellie.
Yeah, it's got to be Ellen Paige. Yeah, not
no,
Ellie.
But no,
see,
really,
even the name. Ellie Paige.
I'm not fully crazy, so I do believe them that it's not modeled after her, but at the same time, it's modeled.
It came out looking spot off like her. So that definitely sparked some controversy.
So the other part is that there's a lot of LGBTQA+, if I remember the acronym, issues in the game. It mainly goes around gay characters, homosexual characters, and kind of how the relationships go in the DLC. That you even meet Ellie's. And the only reason I kind of say this is in the controversy is it did feel a little forced. I've played other games where it's not as forced, and it's not a big deal to me in the end. Mm-hmm. But it did feel forced in this game, and I think that's one. I don't really consider it a controversy. Just push it in there for an agenda.
I'll agree with you. I didn't get that from Ellie, not one bit. Playing it, and that was the DLC where it came out, where it was hanging with Riley before she got bit, before she found out that she was immune, and then they kissed, and that, and again, I don't get to hold their creative, mindset or where they're going with it, but they approached that topic with Bill in The Last of Us. Ellie found his his Dudes magazine, which had some naked dudes in there.
And they handled it well.
And dude, that was awesome. Like, that is one of the journeys, because when you're talking to Bill, and I know this is kind of getting into our favorite moments type of a deal, but when you're going through Bill, trying to get that favor for Joel and get that working engine or working vehicle, I wasn't really picking that up. But you knew that he had a partner or his friend that dies. Not only are you building this relationship, and clever on Naughty Dog, because now I'm kind of seeing it this way, is Bill was a grumpy ass character that I identified as. I'm a grumpy asshole. I don't like people. I like my seclusion. I like having my shit. Don't touch my shit. But and they did a good job at even connecting me with Bill.
You related with the main character.
Yeah, which was Bill. No.
Wait,
no, that was Joel.
I'm talking about Joel right now,
No, I'm talking about Bill, because Bill was the gay one.
Was he grumpy?
Yeah, Bill? Joel was very grumpy. Yeah, Joel was very grumpy. But Bill was like just like a hermit,
true.
you know,
That's
like
true, yeah.
Don't touch my shit, always telling Ellie to, and that's why she stole that mag. But no, so they did a really good job at tying me into at least Bill's character. And then it came out like you kind of find out that he ended up being the one that probably killed his partner, and then you find out that he is gay. And that was more than likely the way that he talked about his partner was big emotion for Bill.
Yeah.
And so that really tied you in, like knowing that, but that's where it all felt natural. Like it didn't feel forced.
It didn't, and that didn't even feel like this isn't the kind of a controversy section that we're talking about. That one didn't really feel controversial. I don't think people talked about that nearly.
Nobody really talked about that.
Ellie, where in the end, like it doesn't really affect me. I don't care. But it did feel controversial in the sense of like it just felt like they were trying to pander, and I'm not a big fan of that.
Yeah, and I honestly haven't played the DLC yet, so I'm yet to make an opinion on that. Even though I've kind of say it did feel forced, but that's what a lot of people were going for, and that's the controversy that we're bringing up. Is a lot of people really did feel
us bringing it up as a controversy as much as
it's us bringing up the topic.
It's what other people were talking about.
Yeah. So I have yet to. I will have that DLC played before the next time we speak, because we are definitely going to revisit The Last of Us when we visit Last of Us 2. And so we'll definitely have some more opinions on that for you when that comes up. But that was a huge controversy, and just the drastic contrast of how Bill was accepted. And again, this was 10 years ago when gay rights weren't as solidified or to a point as where we are now, which people should be people. Live your life. Let people live, is my opinion, and that's where I'm going to end it. But we are all people, and we all get to experience a joy. So when it came to Bill, that was big for me, and that didn't feel forced. And the fact that
it was a good narrative for, I think, gay men. And stuff like that.
Big
it was
time.
Really good. It was
super
really
helpful.
Explain to certain people that might not have understand back then.
Yep.
Who they are and their experiences, and that's what I think is important about this game. In a lot of ways, is it brings those experiences, and I think that's the only reason I think some people have. I'm sure there's just some assholes that just are homophobes, but
those exist.
with of course with the Ellie thing, but. I think just the controversy with that, just to kind of surmise this whole thing, is it just felt more forced. It didn't feel like there was enough build up for it, enough backstory. It didn't feel real, and it comes off disingenuous, and again, hurts the story.
Yeah, and that DLC was a 2-hour DLC, which again,
I guess that's the biggest controversy, is that it's $15 DLC.
Yeah, it was a $15 DLC for 2 hours. The whole game itself was about 12 to 16 hours, depending on how you played it. But yeah, I feel like that's a huge character development that you did not see. I did not feel that way about Ellie as I played her. And again, that's not my journey, but that was my experience. I didn't feel that at all. Whereas with Bill, I got that pretty, not necessarily immediately, but you had that solidified at the end with the game egg. And you knew that was his partner, and that was huge. That was a big connection. But I didn't feel that when I was playing through it. And again, I haven't played the DLC, but we can't deny the amount of controversy that not only it, but Last of Us 2 has brought up with that whole thing.
Yeah, and again, we'll get into that.
Yeah, we'll get into that next time. But I mean, that's what we're bringing up, is just that controversy.
And we might touch and this isn't the end of the episode quite yet. Because we get into our favorite moments.
We're still going into our favorite parts.
But we will try. We might do another episode on this game once we've played it anew or afresh.
Yeah, because I mean,
freshly played.
Yeah, and that's why we kind of want to bring you that a second part of The Last of Us, to get that new, fresh, revisited experience, bring back some of those really game-changing or life-changing points in the game. So we're excited for that.
So, one last thing. We do need to get to the favorite moments, because we're running out of time on this podcast. And it does have a spoiler attached to it, but it's kind of controversial in the sense of not from outside, but inside the game. and that was Joel.
Spoiler! If you have not played the game, fucking keep listening. This is an old ass game. You fucked up.
If you're still, we spoiled so much already, but this is a big spoiler.
This is the number one in my opinion.
Dooms humanity,
plain and simple,
because Ellie has an immunity to the fungus, and they were going to be able to synthesize. I don't know what they were going to do. A pesticide.
They had to remove the host.
Herbicide. I mean.
Yeah, to remove the host from from the body, you had to kill the person. The person wasn't going to survive because
technically she's infected with the fungus.
because it's still, she's just not being controlled by it or something.
They didn't grow, and so she's somewhat immune because of some. And so in order to save humanity, they were gonna and in order to take the host,
because she's still hot, right? If somebody drank her blood or a mucus contact, I thought
I don't remember how if she was like contagious in that.
I'll look. I'll bring that for the next one. We'll let you know for sure if she was contagious or not.
And so yeah, in the end, Joel decides that he's emotionally attached to her so much, and he's such an old man who says, "Fuck the world, I'm saving Ellie." Which, in the end, it's a controversial. It's also a controversial decision. In like, do you doom?
Oh yeah, do you doom humanity?
Or do you save a very innocent, precious girl?
Yeah, because chances are Ellie's not the only one that's immune.
That's the thing.
But is she only? Is she?
I justified it.
Is she the only one that? Is she the only one that's alive?
Yeah.
Because maybe there were other immune people that died because we know players get killed by non-factions all the time.
I will also have to say, like, their explanation from a medical standpoint might not have made as much sense either, because I think they could have still studied her. I know they tried to explain it in such a way they'd kill her because they.
Oh yeah, because that's the game. Yeah,
but I'm like, in a real world situation, I bet you she could have lived, and they just wanted that controversy. Because
if you think about it, let's say they left it up to player choice. We all know in Mass Effect, Witcher, you play that game a certain way, you get a certain ending. And I was thinking about this the other day. Is there a way you could to throw Ellie under the bus and kill her? But no, there's not. That part is on rails. You don't get that option.
You don't really get to choose.
Yeah, and so for being able to set up a second one, because what happens if you choose to let Ellie live? There is no second one, or the second one is going to be drastically different because you just changed that whole environment and everything.
And you're attached to these two characters.
Yeah, and Ellie, who's not attached to Ellie at that point? I don't know if that was even a real situation. If I could choose to let Ellie go at that point.
Well, she was willing to die for it.
Yeah, she was.
Joel
she knew
not willing to let her go.
Yep. And that all came, if we all remember correctly, Ellie was out. She was gone. She not gone, but she was underneath anesthesia or something.
And he took her out.
Yeah, and he got the news that the only way to save humanity was to kill Ellie, and Joel was not going to have that shit.
He took her, and then as they pursued him a little bit, he killed
tons of people.
Yeah, tons of people, and one of them is
Marlene.
Marlene.
He puts a bullet right through her skull.
Yep,
and he was friends with her for a long time. I mean, they didn't have always the best relationship, but you get shot by somebody and they save your life, that builds a relationship.
Yeah. So, So, to end all that, super conflicting end, which is not bad. It's not a bad thing that they ended it like that.
That is what made that game so powerful.
It was the ending,
because you had to make that choice. Not that you had to make the choice,
last
but
bit.
Yeah,
and this segues into the favorite moments kind of thing.
Yeah, yes.
And to segue into favorite moments, the thing that stands out the most in that game to me was when you enter Salt Lake City, Utah, and a big part of the reason is because I live in Utah. I've lived in Utah most of my life, and so just seeing you enter Salt Lake City and then a giraffe head pop up, and you see that the downtown Salt Lake City and recognize it because you've been there multiple times was just, and it's just, especially since games not a lot of stories and stuff are around Utah, unless they're maybe different type of stories or bad stories. I don't know, but it was fun to see that. I really enjoyed it, and I think they did a really good job of modeling the city.
Yeah, they did. Obviously, they have the big Mormon temple here. That was in the game, and they did a really good job of that, of just capturing the whole area. And only bring in that because that was one of the focal points of that game, of when you're exploring Utah and you're in that area, you see that as one of the main things, and that is one of the main focal points of Utah is that big ass temple. And so it was neat to see it because you see California, you see New York. I mean, Max Payne. How many times did I run down the streets of New York in that?
I think we've had enough of New York and Chicago.
So I mean, you definitely get to see these neat real life locations, and so it was really cool to being in Utah. And for me, I grew up in Utah since I was 10. So being here and actually seeing that was really cool. Having that be in a video game of a place that I've been.
Utah has its beauty too. So
we have zoos, so you know that giraffe can be here.
That's true.
We got the Hogle Zoo.
Yeah,
we have giraffes.
Yep.
So really cool that
played into it.
And again, I don't know if that was even what they were thinking, like the animals escaped from the zoo, but there's no way. How does a giraffe get to Utah?
That's the point.
That's got to be what it was. Really
I think
cool.
They even have
really cool detail.
The zoo or something like that in it. But
probably.
I think they do. But the thing that disappointed me, so that was my favorite moment. I think was just entering Utah or Salt Lake City. What disappointed me is that I saw the detail in the background of Salt Lake City, and I wanted to go. I'm like, hopefully we get to go do shootouts in front of everything, and then we never did.
Yeah, I was.
That bummed me out.
I was getting really excited to have a shootout in front of a Walmart, but I didn't get to have that experience.
So to keep this episode in a timely manner, that's my favorite moment. What's your favorite?
There's so many. I've got a couple written here. Definitely when you're in the sewer is fun. The college is a lot of fun. A lot of things to explore in the college. A really cool area for being able to play and experience that. But for me, and I know this is probably going to be the same for most everybody, it was the first 10 minutes. The first 10 minutes of that game were incredible. And a little backstory, because I got to include this, and I know I talked a little bit about it on the last one, but I have to include this here, is I wasn't going to play The Last of Us at all. I wasn't even going to touch the game. I didn't pre-order it. I did eventually buy it, but that's coming later. I had no interest in the game at all. I didn't like the Uncharted. I don't like the Uncharted games or how they played, and I think I've identified more of the story of those. But I knew Naughty Dog was coming out. I knew Last of Us was made by Naughty Dog, and I knew Naughty Dog did the Uncharted. And I played, I think, Uncharted 2 or 3, and I just didn't care. It was not for me. So I had no plans to play The Last of Us. But when it came out, it finally released. I figured, screw it, $2 at the Red Box, right? That's not gonna ruin anything. So I picked it up from the Red Box and beat it that day. Like, I literally did not stop playing that game. I probably beat it over a course of 2 days, but it was like shit nonstop. Wow. That 10-minute segment where you're playing as Sarah, you wake up, something's happened, you're searching your house, you get to experience or take a glimpse into their lives. They had a normal life. They had a normal-ass house, just like mine. Yeah. I had a normal life. I was married at the time with one kid, so I understood, having that child and stuff like that. And then you're going through playing and seeing all this mayhem just unfold. And and I'm not saying nobody gets to understand this or you need to have a kid to understand it, but having that kid really does open up that perspective. And so when you're playing as Sarah running through this town where shit is just blowing up, I just think of myself as what am I going to do? And I see what Joel's doing. He's, him and his brother are armed, or at least one of them's armed. One of them his brother had the revolver. And I just, doing what you have to do to get your kid, to get your family out of that situation. And so you're playing Sarah, seeing all these emotions, and you're kind of just along for the ride. Like, you get to experience all of that fear and all that craziness that's happening. And then the crash happens, and you take control of Joel, and you pick up your daughter, and you're just running through all the alleyways. And sometimes you got to backtrack, or sometimes you're going away and it's not the right way. And you get to that part where your daughter gets shot.
Yep.
Holy God. That's got tingles running through me right now. fucking years and years and years after I've played that and just going back and reliving that was so powerful to me that I fucking consumed that game so quickly to the point where I consumed it again. I beat that game again. And then I went and bought it from the GameStop. Full price. There were no used copies. The game,
not like today, the game, there's plenty.
Yeah, the game. Yeah, there's game stores are not allowing those as trade-ins to the point where. Part 2. But I'm 2 days into the release, so obviously there's not going to be a used game. But there was no doubt in my mind I wanted to own that fucking game. Like that was so strong. And if you weren't in tears when fucking Sarah's dying and sobbing and those little whimpers, and there's nothing you can do like that. That was rough.
It was bad during, but even afterwards, when I really found out she died, I was like, "What?"
Yeah, like that tore me up, and that immediately just links you with Joel and that strife of fuck everyone because your daughter,
already.
And then Ellie gets introduced, and you can see he doesn't want anything to do, but there's that part of him.
Because it brings up hard feelings.
Hard feelings. And you can see that there's a part in there that and obviously he does. He becomes that father figure.
And this is one of the things that makes it such a masterpiece on a narrative level for games.
So good. Just for me, and I know believable. It is. It's believable. It gets you in. It draws you in. It makes you feel those emotions. And to me, there's nothing more masterfully done than making someone feel that.
Yep.
And I never felt that through Halo. And not to say Halo's a bad game. I'm not saying that at all. Halo was a great game, but you did not.
We have it on record. Tyson saying that Halo is rated a 0 out of 10.
I will say I don't like the Uncharted's, and I never will. But The Last of Us, the way that made me feel, the way that played with my emotions and really took you on that roller coaster ride makes that game probably, if it's not my favorite, which I've got to put some time into thinking about which is my favorite. If it's not my favorite, it is very close, and it will always remain in that very, very good spot of wow, just the overwhelming emotions that I felt playing that game. So incredible. Yeah. Such an incredible game. To the point where I'm amped. I'm getting amped just talking about it because I'm excited. I'm excited to jump back into it. And I really wish I could have done it before this, but life, it gets busy.
We're busy creating a website and some other stuff to go along with this podcast.
And quizzes. But we are playing it. We are excited, and we're excited to bring you another a little bit of Last of Us before we play Last of Us 2 and bring you that review.
So, what would you rate it?
Dear God.
And you can make up your own rating system. I don't care.
I'm on a double rating system where you got to have doubles. It's got to be like a 2.5.
A 2.5
out of a 4.7. If I was going to rate this game, dear Lord, and again, I'm basing it purely off of what I played, which was The Last of Us. I didn't play the DLC. It was a perfect score for me.
Every game has flaws. I don't think there's nothing in the world that doesn't have a flaw to it.
Yeah, too many Jack and Dexter Easter eggs for crying out loud. Way too many. I mean, it was an all right game. But if you don't know what
Jack and Dexter is, it doesn't matter then.
Yeah,
it's not going to bother.
That's where it messed up even more.
But make you play Jack and Dexter in the beginning.
Yeah. But no, that's a perfect game. That was does it have flaws? Absolutely. But I didn't play the game for that. I played it for that experience, and holy shit, the fact that it made me cry within 10 minutes. You got me. You got me hook, line, and seeker, friend. Show me what the rest you got. And the rest was
narrative
incredible
game that you couldn't put down.
Now, if we had to go on a more specific basis of like rate the controls, rate the guns, rate blah blah blah,
we don't have to do that.
Not going to do that. As a whole, that is a 10 out of 10 game. As a whole, 10 out of 10 for me, and that's my opinion. And you're wrong if you think anything else.
If you're listening to this,
if
you're not,
Shag, if you're listening to this, you're wrong.
Final Fantasy VII is a perfect game.
Yeah, we will actually be doing a spotlight on Final Fantasy VII 13 years after I'm dead. Like, that's when we're going to cover anything Final Fantasy related.
Oh, come on.
Never. I don't like that game. You can't make
We'll bring on a special guest, dress him up as Tyson, and then he'll help.
Sold. That is when Tyson will contribute to Final Fantasy. And he will respond to Shag, I'm sure. Shag is our buddy for those of you that are not getting the jokes, which none of you will. But yeah, he's our good buddy.
A little bit of inside joke.
I'm sure we'll have him on at some point.
We'll have him on. I'm sure we'll have some other friends jump in and out. We might add an extra host. Who knows? We don't know what the future of this podcast is. I know we enjoy it.
Yeah, we just, honestly, the reason we're doing this in the end is we like doing it. We like working together. And honestly, the first one we did was a lot of fun.
Yep.
And we're just going to continue doing this. So.
Yep, we're going to continue doing this, build our website out, have fun with all this stuff. Just a little closing notes on all this. Make sure to visit our website, gamesrevealed.com.
Gamesrevealed.com. Check it out.
And check out our quizzes. We'll have a quiz that's related to this. We'll have a podcast with show notes, and then we're going to do this every week. We haven't decided on like a release time. It's like every Friday or something like that. We'll find out. But right now we're recording it on a Tuesday, and we'll figure out the other stuff later when we launch the website in the next. Since this is going to be released, this episode's going to be released when the website gets released.
Yeah,
it'll be released whenever you see this, I guess.
When you see it, it's been released. You'll be the first to know, I'm sure.
So next week we will be talking about The Last of Us Part 2, and hopefully
Are we doing Last of Us Part 2 next week already? I don't know if we're going to have time to play.
I'll have time to play.
Okay, James will have time to play.
We'll see. Next episode's most likely going to be Last of Us Part 2. If it's not, it will be...
If it's not, let's make it...
The Witcher Part 4.
Yep. And we're developing it, so you're going to hate it.
We're developing it.
It most likely it'll be Witcher 3. That's a game both he and I have been playing recently. He finished it not too long ago. I picked it up on Switch to hopefully finish it. And hopefully grind through some of those DLCs because I've yet to play.
You're going to have a better chance beating Last of Us Part 2 than beating The Witcher 3 by the time we have this.
Yeah, chances are I'll have beat Witcher, Last of Us Part 1 and Last of Us Part 2 by the time I beat Witcher 3.
We're going to spin the mystery wheel and figure out what game will be the next one. But we've played so many games that have inspired us and moved us. I mean, the Dead Space series.
Yeah, Dead Space.
Resident Evil series.
Resident Evils.
We have a ton of games.
Have we mentioned we're not covering Final Fantasy? Because we're not.
We'll have a special on Final Fantasy. And Tyson won't be involved, but someone else will be.
Yeah, somebody can take my chair for that episode.
It's going to be all related back to Tyson. So,
well, I am the greatest Final Fantasy fan in the world, and if again Shag would finish my website, I could get my free trip to Hong Kong. So, or Taiwan, wherever the heck it is, I don't know.
Yeah, because either of those even close to whatever.
Yeah, it's somewhere over in Asia. See, that's how much I know about it. You got that clout guy, the guy, the Colossus of Clout. That's what they call him. Yeah, Clout. He's got a lot of clout, apparently.
Okay, well, we're going to end this on that horrible note.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah, thanks for listening, and we will talk to you guys next time.
Yeah, much appreciated. See ya.